4 major emergencies across the world. This keeps happening after every 100 years. 1720. You would certainly be surprised to know that whatever is happening in the world today is not new, and it has been a process from 400 years ago. Beginning in 1720, an outbreak of bubonic plague broke out in Marseille, France, known as the Great Plague of Marseille. It took lives of an estimated 100,000 people in that city and surrounding provinces and towns. The disease arrived on a merchant ship called Grand Saint-Antoine at French port city of Marseille. It carried infected passengers from the Middle East and unloaded cargo which contained rat fleas. Plague-carrying rats soon spread across the city. 1820. The first of several cholera pandemic recorded in modern history spread from India to Southeast Asia, the Middle East, Europe, and Eastern Africa in the early 19th century. It began near the city of Calcutta. It originated from contaminated rice which initially spread through flies. Due to this, the highest number of lives were lost in Indonesia, Thailand and the Philippines. It persisted from 1817 until 1824, and 6 more cholera pandemics were charted over the following 150 years. In 1820 its effects were seen on a very large scale, and it was the same situation then what it was like today. 1920. The Spanish flu or 1918 flu, influenza caused by an H1N1 virus, spread in the early 20th century, affected the lives of 50 million people worldwide. Despite the name, most modern scholars suggests the pandemic did not originate in Spain. France was the epicenter of this flu. It first originated in a hospital, an overcrowded camp which was an ideal site for the spreading of the respiratory virus. It initially harbored in birds, was mutated and then migrated to pigs and humans inside the hospital. Once again, even though this pandemic encompassed the year 1920, it began much earlier, starting roughly from January 1918 to December 1920. But it was in 1920 that it was in its worst form and many lives were lost. 2020. The COVID-19 coronavirus outbreak, which is the only newsmaker in 2020, was initially reported at the end of 2019. It was not officially characterized as a pandemic by the World Health Organization until March 2020. It is not transmitted by air. It is transmitted by being in contact with the contaminated surface through cough drops which reach the face, mouth, nose and eyes. It is very important to take precautions like washing hands as often as possible, not touching one's face with unwashed hands, staying away from people who cough or sneeze, avoid crowded areas and use masks.